tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
That was my pick. We every week we're going to come out with a secret pick. That
and
was
we all
my
make
pick
mistakes.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Yes, that's good.
Oh my God.
It's not a secret anymore if you say it.
Wow, goodness gracious. Well, welcome back for another AfterBuzz Redneck Island episode. Yes. Here we are today talking about episode number 4, titled What Goes Up Must Come Down. And in the studio with us today, over on the couch, we have our co-hosts, David Abed.
Abed, yes, thank you.
I'm going to get it one. Oh, my God. And welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
And then Brittany Baldi, welcome back. Guys. We have with us Faye Dale.
Hey, what's up?
And then we have a special guest today.
That's me.
Okay, we have a current Ring of Honor superstar. He is credited with holding 16 championship titles.
Not all at once, everyone. Not all at once.
Because that would be pretty amazing.
That'd be very heavy. Yeah.
Between TNA, Ring of Honor, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, and including an additional 10 World Tag Team titles. Is that impressive or what?
Killing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do okay.
Yeah.
I do okay.
So he's known in the industry as the King of the Indies. He is the Fallen Angel, the Ring General, inspiration to children everywhere.
Wow.
The man with, and this is a quote from our friend, the man with the rear that makes the girls cheer.
Whoa, we gotta see it. We gotta see it.
That's actually scientifically proven. 4 out of 5 doctors agree that my rear is spectacular, and the 5th doctor is Dr. Doom, and I don't think his license is invalid.
You know what, Christopher? That is so redneck of you.
Right.
Is it?
Totally.
And
I'm so glad I fit in.
This is Mr. Modest himself, Christopher Daniels. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And I don't know if she's naming off all these accolades, but she never really said that I'm a professional wrestler. So I mean,
Okay.
Just so you know that.
Yes.
Well, no,
you're
That is true.
Yeah,
You might
but
not
that's
know.
okay. Like, because it's your background from Glow.
Yeah.
But that's how Little Egypt and I know each other. Angelina, we met this year at the Cauliflower Alley convention, which is a big convention for the. I guess the forwarding of professional wrestling, like the history of professional wrestling, and letting the younger guys sort of learn about what the veterans did to bring professional wrestling to this day and age. So that's where we met.
Right, and thanks to you and Frankie for coming out and supporting our cause.
Yep.
The CAC stands for Cauliflower Alley Club. It's a nonprofit organization, and it is run by wrestlers, for wrestlers. We have what we call a benevolent fund. And so when we raise money, it goes towards that to help other wrestlers who need care with maybe walkers or funeral expenses. And we are in an industry that's not regulated, so within our own little industry, we try to regulate ourselves. And so thank you, Chris.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
that.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And Chris and I spoke before the show, and the jury is out on whether who would win in an arm wrestling match.
Right.
So I think it's a little more in my favor, but we haven't figured it out yet.
Dave obviously has a strategy. I feel like he's very strategic minded.
Yes.
So I would have to definitely study up.
Yeah.
some stuff.
We're not going to do it today, but we could just saying the jury's out.
Well, we're going to build it up. We're going to build it up.
Start putting your bets in now.
Right now.
Yes,
everybody.
call in, please, with your choice.
Yes. I'll give you my PayPal address. Just spend all the money there.
Yeah.
And then I'll hold on to it in
just in case.
Yes.
Until that's
until
a smart
the match.
move. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for doing that.
I'm an honest man. You can trust this face.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me. So one of the things that we do is we recap the show that we just watched, and you had a chance to watch Redneck.
Law and Order.
Yep.
Oh wait, it wasn't Law and Order.
Oh, Redneck
crap.
Island.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I did watch Redneck Island. Yes.
Redneck
Episode 4.
Island.
That's
Episode 4. That's the one we're talking about.
Yes.
But before that, I would like to take a few minutes just to try and for our listeners to understand a little bit more of your background too. Yes, you're a pro wrestler. Yes, you've been in TNA, and you're currently with Ring of Honor. you were just in a match with Alberto Del Rio, which is quite a big deal because it was a championship match. Was that right?
No, not championship match. It was his debut in Ring of Honor. Alberto Del Rio, he's actually called Alberto El Patron now. But in the World Wrestling Entertainment, he was known as Alberto Del Rio, and he left the company late last year. And last night we were in Nashville taping our television show, and his debut match was against me. And I'm not going to say who won or lost. You'll have to watch Ring of Honor television to find out in a couple weeks. But I will say that Alberto Del Rio, Alberto El Patron, is 110% ready to wrestle, and he's there to work. And Ring of Honor was definitely a great place for him to be. And my chair is how did you do that?
It's magic.
How did you do that?
It's magic.
Damn it, she made me
We've
short.
all sat in that chair before. Yes.
So funny.
Curses. She's a wizard.
So,
I knew it. See, now she doesn't. It all came around.
there is also a correlation to Steve Austin, who's the host of the show. So tell us about your relationship with Steve.
I had the opportunity when I first moved to California. I was still sort of trying to break into the wrestling business, the higher level of wrestling business. And in 1998, I got an opportunity to have a couple of what we call dark matches for the World Wrestling Federation at the time. And I had just, at one of the shows, I had just recently started shaving my head. And this was right around the time that a young white meat baby face named Steve Austin was becoming the biggest sensation in pro wrestling. And he happened to notice that I was bald and he was bald. So he came up to me and asked me about changing my look.
No.
Because, yeah, absolutely. Because
There's only room for one bald guy?
Well, I think because he was in the position where he became like such a superstar and a face of professional wrestling, like one of the most popular wrestlers in the business, that all of a sudden it seemed like, oh, well, I'm going to try and be like the successful guy. And I think when he saw me, he was like, did you do that because you wanted to be like me? And I was like, no, I did that because if I didn't, I was going to lose it anyway. So I wanted to eat it up. So.
He was strategizing. He wanted something to grab onto when he's throwing you around the ring.
That's female wrestling.
Right. That's a completely different.
That's sexual fantasies that you have, actually. Yeah.
Wait, what?
This whole show just completely took a left turn, everybody.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for that, because Steve is the host of this show. This is his 4th season on Redneck Island. He has a co-host this season. Her name is Jessie James
Decker.
Yep. Right? And so you're seeing kind of that play out a little bit. And when you watch the show, I'd like to get kind of your take on it. I mean, you saw the entire show.
Right.
What are your thoughts on Steve's product?
I think it's very interesting in the sense that it's a show hosted by Steve. It's hosted by Jessie James, but they're very they're sort of the bookend of the show. You know, you see him at the beginning, hey guys, this is what happened last week, and you see him at the end, this is what we're doing today, and in the middle you're watching the competitors. You're seeing how they're interacting in the house, you're seeing how they're dealing with each other, how they're strategizing, all the little I guess nonsense that's happening in the house as they're waiting to do the challenges. So I mean, it's interesting that Steve has sort of transitioned into reality television, and you know, I think that it's something that he appreciates, but it's not really. I don't think it's indicative of Steve. I think it's, you know, Steve's sort of pointing this stuff out. I think Steve is just having fun with it, you know.
So let me ask you this: would you like to see? Do you wish Steve to? Would you have liked to see Steve Austin interact more with the cast members?
I think that would be entertaining, but at the same time, it probably would take a lot away if it was focusing on Steve interacting with each one of the cast members. Then you don't get to see the cast members sort of interacting with themselves, which is sort of the whole point of the show.
Yeah.
How these guys are interacting with each other, how they're interacting with their partners, and then the changing of partners, even like this week where you had a team that was set up at the beginning, and by the end, 2 different people from 2 different teams were eliminated, forming a completely different team. So I mean, it's I think that's the interesting part right now. And then I just, you know, as a fan of Steve Austin and someone who I think is very entertaining, you know, it wouldn't
didn't
hurt
feel
if there
like
was
there-
more
yeah.
Steve Austin. But I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
you know, I know that's not the point of the show. So
Well, no, not necessarily, because in the first 3 seasons, it was more like a Survivor style,
Right.
where prior to an elimination, Steve would be interacting with him. He'd be talking to him about, like, so what are your thoughts? What do you feel like you could have done different? So they really kind of looked forward to that. And I've been hearing from some of the cast members that they kind of wish they would have had, like, just a couple minutes. Like, they kind of sequester the stars off to the side, and there's really no interaction. And so they were kind of hoping for it. They didn't get it this season. So thanks for that, because I agree with you. As a viewer, I want to see that. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's almost like they don't matter. There's a little bit of them not mattering. They say the exact same thing. They remind us every
Yeah.
episode that there's $100,000 on the line. And
Yeah.
if you get cut, you leave, and then there's no team.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to throw. I mean, these are talented people. It'd be nice to have them have the creative freedom to do something other
Right.
than basically
Right.
nothing.
well, I wonder too, as the people start to be eliminated, it starts getting down to like 6 people left, 4
Right.
people left. If you're going to have more interaction, because there's more time, there's less people that you have to focus on.
True.
At this point, how many teams are left? Like 6, 7?
There's got to be 12, 15 people. left,
Okay,
right?
so I
Yeah.
mean, if you've got 12 or 15 people interacting in the house, you know, cut to 6 weeks from now when you're down to 6 people, there's not going to be a whole lot of time, or at least you'll cover all of that in a shorter period of time. Maybe there's more time for Steve and Jesse
True.
to interact with them and get more of the, like you were saying, like what your thought process? What's your thought process now? What's your plan? What's your strategy
Yeah.
going into?
Hey,
this,
maybe
that,
they'll
and the
even
other?
demonstrate the challenges.
That
That's-
would be so cool,
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
That'd be too funny.
Yeah. Okay, so last week, Jeremy and Shelby formed a new team, right? And then they kind of opened the show with like that pole dancing.
Right, and then we
bit.
never saw him again for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it wasn't really about them. What did you think when you guys were watching Margaret? Now, you didn't see this, Chris, but early in I think it was like episode 1, Margaret lost her teammate. His name was Riley, and they had this immediate 24-hour
Connection.
love affair, right?
Yeah, right.
Am I right,
missed that.
David?
Yes, yes, that was episode 2, I think.
Was it
Or
episode
one or
2?
yeah.
Right? And now, what did you think, David, about watching Margaret kind of try and find her next male
Her
stronghold?
next lover.
Yeah.
I did notice she cuddling up against
Yeah.
with some other guys.
Yeah.
And again, I think all of our feelings towards Margaret are tumbling slowly more into the trash can, right? Because in the first 2
There's
episodes,
just no other choice.
there's no other choice. In the first 2 episodes, I was on her side. I found her endearing and funny and cute. And each episode,
Yeah.
it seems more almost pushed about how horrible she is and how everybody hates her.
They hate
and
her.
almost there's like a feeling of like maybe the producers are I mean, it just seems so like she's gone so over the edge. I don't know how
But it
one
is
person.
the oldest trick ever. Get all the women to hate you,
Right.
get all the men to like you. I'm like, Margaret, modernize.
But no men like her, really, right?
no, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
No.
They like to look at her.
She's
right?
not even that hot, really,
But they
right?
keep
Chris?
saying that.
No.
I
Did
didn't-
you think Margaret was a looker?
Not really.
No.
Not the way she thought she was.
Yeah,
Okay.
not
But
compared to some of the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. I felt like, and this was my first meeting or seeing of Margaret.
Yeah.
And so, like, by the end of the show, though, I was like, wow, she's really talking herself into a hole.
Right, yeah.
Like, she started,
She could never
she
live up to
started
it.
at the precipice, and you would think she'd go closer to, like, safety. No, she
no.
just went over the edge. And,
She's diving into that black
oh, yeah.
hole.
She completely was ready to just talk her way right out of the building.
Yeah.
So do you guys remember last week I told you that I think Cowboy might be the smartest person
In the
ever
house.
on the house? That
You still feeling that
he's
way,
got to be
Angelina?
like some Navy SEAL. I thought he was like a Navy SEAL.
I'm not sure
But,
about Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Navy SEAL might
Maybe,
I thought he
maybe
had,
an
like,
Army Ranger.
Yeah.
Right.
He's obviously served.
Yeah, right,
I don't know
right.
if he reached the upper echelon.
Yes, exactly. We don't know if he has a beret.
Oh, I
right.
swear I thought he had the best gimmick. I thought he was like, this is the best strategy I've ever seen on reality television. And now I think, no, he just might have a screw loose. What
Yeah.
are your
Well,
thoughts
he
on
enjoys-
Cowboy?
He just
He
likes
enjoys his
beer.
beverages, yeah.
he likes
enjoys
beer.
the taste.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, when he was competing at the end, where he had to be sober, obviously,
Yeah.
there seemed to be like a sadness to Cowboy. Like he was very like kind of underspoken and like
He
there
was
was like a
focused.
sadness.
He
in
was
it.
focused.
Right. But like you could tell, I was like, I feel like this shows that this is a guy that needs alcohol in order to be like a fun
Lively.
personality.
In it to win.
Because when it was out, he was one, but he
Flat.
was very flat
Just
and
flat.
boring.
I think he was just bummed that he was going to have Margaret as his partner.
That too.
It could be that.
He was
That
like, I'm
too.
going to have this crazy.
You know what? He's just
Bond.
waiting to get a hold
Right.
of some sort of communication where he can call the tattoo artist to come in and do another tat.
Right.
That's going to spark him right back up.
Yeah.
He'll be on top.
Oh.
Well, what did
okay.
you think about the whole Cody Cowboy when things were starting to get ugly with them in the house? Cody did not know in the beginning that Parigi actually instigated that, which I thought that was a really bad move. I mean, what did you when someone goes around the corner to start and instigate trouble like that? That's a character issue.
We just call them Margaret.
Right.
Yeah, but what did you guys think about
Yeah.
that? I mean, I lost a lot of credibility for Parigi. I didn't think he lost a lot of, his character was in question.
Yeah.
At that
You lost
point.
respect for him.
I did. That's
Okay.
the word.
What kind of respect
Yeah.
did you have for him before?
I know, seriously.
Well, I kind of thought he was just like playing.
I saw it as
He's
like,
a heavy-set
he
dude.
needs to like do something in this episode and like make a name for himself. So I
Yeah.
figure like, how can I like do something because I just sit. So that verbally started something else. So it just seemed like a
Did you
time
see him at the
filler.
beginning? He was kind of stripping, and Margaret was dancing around.
He was
I think I
dancing
was
on the
throwing
pole.
up during
you
that
see
part.
that?
He
Yeah.
was dancing
I
on
was
the
getting ready for him
pole.
to take off his
Yeah.
shirt and go crazy, but he
I
didn't
was
do it.
glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was fine with that not
Because I had the
happening.
fork up to my eye, just ready to start
Ready to poke
stabbing.
myself.
Okay, so I'm so glad you're here because you're a guy who spent
guy.
his career
I am a
in the
guy,
wrestling ring. He has a very physical job. It's very physical. We take bumps.
Yes.
Oftentimes, if they're done well, it feels good, and when they're not, it hurts, right?
Even the ones that are done right don't feel good. I don't
Right.
want you people to think like this is like getting a massage. Every one of the worst, the best one I ever took still hurts. So
well,
just falling
I
down
like
for a
the
living
clean bump.
is
It sucks.
very painful. Very painful.
Well, yeah, you guys are doing some incredible stuff. I mean, really top notch.
Yeah.
We're idiots. You can say that. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I've come to terms with my stupidity.
Oh, my God.
I throw my body down at a hard surface for money.
So would you throw your body down on a hard surface like the challenge where they were doing the
What a segue. Did you
What
see
is
that?
that?
Holy
We're all
cow.
professionals here. Yeah. So yes.
Rip and Dip, where they were totally taking themselves for $100 grand. I
Yep.
mean, and they're not getting $100 grand for this particular challenge.
Right, right.
But wow, you would not get me to launch myself on an inner tube.
It looks pretty fun,
into
actually.
it.
Yeah.
Brittany.
Brittany's done that
still
for last
water.
weekend. Yeah.
Well,
Still water. It's like
was-
the clown jump from the circus.
It was funny. It looked easier, as a lot of these things are. It probably looks easier than it is. But as I was watching it, and when Jordan, went into the air, and as she hit and came up from under the water,
Not breathing.
Yeah, not breathing and really straining. I could tell. Like I told you earlier, I could have diagnosed that from my couch that she knocked the wind out of
Right,
herself.
yeah.
So yeah, it was just interesting to see, because I thought she had a great strategy to sort of like stay. What's the word I'm looking for?
Tucked?
Streamlined.
Oh,
Well,
streamlined.
streamlined. Yeah, because she was straight up and she cut a flip, and if she had stayed straight and just sort of sat out a little bit instead of over rotating, she might not have knocked herself stupid. But the minute she hit the way she hit, it just scared everybody else. And then all of a sudden you see like
That is true.
flailing
Flailing
bodies
arms.
that are going like 5 feet in the air, and then they have to swim
Yeah.
100 yards
200
longer.
yards,
Right.
right. So
Yeah.
would you, I mean, you take some hard hits in your profession.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. One of the things that you learn early on in professional wrestling is body control. So, like, in my head, if I saw what they wanted us to do, I think I could have made my body, cut that flip the right way and sort of lay out so that I could have hit the water in a way that wasn't going to hurt me, or at least minimize the damage of, plummeting as fast as you did.
Well, there is a pool in the
So-
back of the studio. I
Yeah,
mean,
we're
we
gonna
can go
practice
out
that
after
Okay, cool.
and practice
Yeah.
that.
Yes,
Perfect.
yes.
David, you're first.
Okay, yeah, I brought my swim trunks, and by
He's
that,
ready.
naked. Yes.
All right, what did you think when you saw it? I thought it was the craziest, most dangerous, unsafe.
Stunt thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes. I thought this is one of those things I would get hurt. I remember, like, when I was, like, 14, I went to one of those water parks with the zip line, and the moment I jumped, my body just took me off the thing, and I fell, like, within 3 seconds. Everybody laughed, and the lifeguard was like, "Are you okay?" Like, idiot fat guy. So I thought I would definitely have knocked myself out or something. I was impressed by most of the women and most everybody seemed to do a pretty good job. And by the end, I was like, I see a strategy happening here.
Well, did you
Yeah.
notice after Jordan took the hit, and the first couple ladies that went there,
Tumbling.
tumbling, and then they were like, lifeguard jump.
Yeah.
They were petrified.
Yeah.
Petrified.
What would be the best strategy there, Chris? What's the best way to land on that one?
To me, it would have been like the way Jordan was going to cut a flip and keep your feet in front of you, and then hit the water feet first. But I mean, the thing that I noticed was, and this is easy to say from the safety of your couch watching it on TV, but like once she cut the flip, and she came up like, I guess head up, she started to rotate forward. So instead of hitting the water feet first, she hit it basically belly. She basically belly
face first. Yeah.
And just like that's what's gonna knock all that wind out of you is hitting it that hard flat.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, it seemed to me like the best way to do it would have been keep your feet in front of you, keep your legs sort of loose, so that you weren't going in with your legs, your knees locked, and you hyperextend your knees or bully your hips out.
Yeah, break your ankles off.
Anything.
Right.
I mean.
Crazy.
Cannonball it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I would have done.
All of that stuff is easy. It's easy to be the armchair quarterback watching it from the thing.
Absolutely.
And one of because I sort of do stuff like this all the time, I know how I would have tried it, and it's very conceivable that I would have knocked the hell out of myself as well.
Right.
But I had an idea of what I would have done if it was in that position, and I think she had the right idea. She just had the wrong execution
of it.
Oof.
Sure.
Yeah, so I've been watching since the beginning, and I've actually, that's what kind of hooked me to this show, were these crazy fun, crash into water stunts. But this was like 30 feet in the air and like 100 feet out, and it was water.
Swimming.
And it looked like when they were hitting, it was like solid.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God. When we're going to get Cory on the line when he calls in, that would be a good question to ask, because whoever was pulling the rope, I don't know if it was a boat or what was pulling the tube off that ramp, but it clearly, the dynamics changed and everything was kind of recalculated, because that tube couldn't even get 5 feet. Instead of 100. I would not want to be one of the first ones on the next
Oh, you
challenge.
think they actually changed the game after she got hurt?
I'd like to ask Cory that question, because there's just that tube.
It did look like they went shorter.
Yeah.
My favorite quote during that,
Yeah.
Parigi was pulling in his partner, and he said something like, "I'm just pretending that there's a double cheeseburger on that platform."
Right.
That was my favorite
Very
line out of that whole episode.
So what did you think about Margaret when it was her turn to go up on that platform, and she was just
Struggling.
Yeah.
The struggle was real.
wow. I mean, like, poor Cory, right?
He was probably like, "No, we're going into elimination."
The struggle was real. The tears were real. Just that's the first real
weird
thing she's
amount of
done.
poetic justice.
First real thing she's done the whole season.
I know. It's just weird that happened that way. Again, I was like, this is almost surreal that she's the most hated person on the show, and she's struggling to such a degree at a relatively easy part of the thing. Everybody got up pretty easily from that.
It seemed like it. Yeah, and I thought they were even saying that you could hit the bottom, so you could have pushed off from the ground.
People were cutting their feet
to get up onto. Well, that's what they were saying, that they were feeling rocks under, because the water wasn't that deep where the platform was, because land was literally an arm's reach.
They said there was rocks. There was a ladder actually to the platform. It's just the
she just couldn't find her feet. She couldn't get her feet on the ladder.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Silly Margaret.
Silly
Sorry, Margaret.
I like that. We're going to have to use that again. With Margaret, she is a fierce competitor. You haven't seen this in the other episodes, but she's just usually first or second on the, she was not letting her team down. And then here's Cory. Poor Cory. This wasn't his day.
This wasn't his day. He had a bad hair day. He
did have a bad hair day. What was he doing?
Maybe that's what weighed him down in the final part, but we'll get to that. We can ask him. I mean, he had that big change from it all tied up, pulled right, nice and neat, and he was aerodynamic and everything he did to like.
I think something interesting to point out too is which women decided to wear shorts for that, and some decided to wear bikini bottoms. Like
Which
Nicole,
one did you prefer?
Well, I wrote it down. Nicole, bikini bottoms, because I was like, her ass was like all over the place when she was onto the platform, and then the girls later on, you could tell the girls that are proud of their asses in that show, and the girls that are hiding it, because the ones that are hiding it obviously wear shorts.
Yeah, holy cow.
So no mandatory dress code for that thing.
That's a nice observation.
Choose your poison. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cory, Margaret, they came in last. They're sent into the pit. It's up to the winners, okay? And the winners from that event were Cody and Nicole. And Cody and Nicole get to pick who Cory and Margaret are going to face in the pit challenge. That's kind of how this system works. But here, Okay, cool. What I just want to say, like, the whole thing that took me for a loop was, why wasn't Jordan eliminated? Why did she get the pass? Like, here
That's
she
what
is.
I was trying to figure out,
Were you
too.
thinking that too? Like, because that just didn't seem fair that that Cory and Margaret had to go into the pit when Jordan
She didn't do
technically
the thing,
came
yeah.
in last.
Right.
Yep.
She should have been in the pit. What are your
There
thoughts?
must be some
agree.
rules about that, right? I mean, you probably have to sign something as the reality show expert on the show here, Brittany.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm going to
what's
assume
that?
that they had to sign some type of contract that stated if somebody gets hurt, either A, they go straight into elimination, or B, they don't, because I don't see how that would have been fair, like you guys were mentioning.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they should have went into the dome right away.
I didn't
Yeah.
even think about that until you said it, but it probably was just sympathy, like thinking that she got hurt, even though
well, that's,
She
it was
had
just
the
getting the
wind.
wind knocked out of you.
Yeah.
But I mean, at that point,
They didn't know. They
Yeah,
didn't
they had no
know.
idea, so it could have been very bad.
Well, speaking of Cory, he is on the line with us right now. Hey, Cory, are you there?
Hey,
Hey, Cory.
what's going on?
Well, you know what? Did you hear us talking about that challenge and what you thought about maybe Jordan not getting eliminated? Did that cross your mind at all?
Yeah, actually, I caught just a bit of y'all talking about it, and yeah, that was actually a big concern. And like y'all touched on earlier, they did state that if you're unable for whatever reason to complete a challenge, whether it be injury, illness, you can't muster up the guts for it, whatever it may be, you're immediately up for elimination regardless.
So why did they do that then?
Cory, what happened then? Why?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was definitely frustrating. I mean, I came in, with a real killer mentality, and when I found that out, I didn't want to be that jerk that just says, hey, let's
Play by the
throw
rules?
the injured
Right.
girl in. Tank wasn't injured though.
But you're
You
playing
know,
for $100,000. Like, that's not being
Exactly.
a jerk.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts
Exactly,
on
and
that?
at the end of the day, it boils down to like how I thought about it. I hate that, but given the situation, and let's say I pull my hamstring, nobody's gonna think twice about throwing the biggest guy in there.
Right.
If you could go back,
So
in,
I really didn't. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, if you can go back in time, would you have said something to the producers to change their mind? It is $100,000, like you're
definitely-
saying.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I can say. I definitely would have pissed some people off with my opinions, because I mean, it just it really did irk me. I tried to keep my cool about it, and I was like, well, you know what, we'll just make it happen. They say champions find a way. So that was my mindset. Just to stay focused and just get in there and do it. I didn't want to, say, hey, look, man, this girl just came back from the hospital, blah 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 blah. Everybody, we all liked Jordan, and Jordan's a sweet girl, and I guess that sympathy thing did kind of play a huge role. But according to the rules and what we signed up for, if you're injured, you have to go. I mean, I can't tell you the actual guy, but y'all will see it. There's a guy who actually gets injured. He has a pretty bad hamstring injury. And
Well, we know it's not
he's
you.
in the pit. yeah, right. He's in the
Lisa doing
pit
math.
immediately. So
Yeah,
So
it
yeah,
shouldn't be
it's
up to
pretty rough.
you to complain to the producers on whether or not Jordan should go in. She should just go. It seems like game shows are regulated by rules. It's just crazy that they would just let the rules go like that. But
Talking about rules,
I agree.
I want to know about your hair rule. How
The hair rule.
how did you come up with that choice this last week, Cory?
and are you sad
I
about it?
was thinking I was going to get my Samson on and kind of derive my strength from my hair.
Oh, magical powers.
Bad move. Horrible move.
Yeah, it was apparently, but it it's so much that goes on behind the scenes that the viewers really don't see. In that particular competition, I mean, I was under the influence that we
You
were
were
going
under
to
the
have enough
influence?
rope, like,
Oh yeah.
and actually, if you saw the show, I mean, I'm literally a good 4.5, 5 feet above Cowboy, and I'm just completely out of rope. I mean, they're screaming, ring the bell. And I'm like, look, I mean, I'm here. So
Do you
I
think they
literally
gave you
just
a
kind of had to
short
bite my
rope?
tongue.
Do you think they gave you a short rope?
No, I don't think they gave me a short rope. I've seen slack in the rope, but I wasn't under the impression it had to be, just ironclad tight. Otherwise,
You run out of rope,
we
right.
wouldn't have been able to do it.
It's funny, as I was watching the challenge, Cory, I noticed like they showed it. And this could have been you, this could have been Cowboy's cleats, but it seemed like there was an awful lot of rope on a lot of the cleats. So I didn't think that you or Cowboy didn't make the rope tight enough. I just thought somebody used too much rope on each cleat, and that's what made your rope get short. I just assumed those were yours. Like there was one shot of a cleat that looked like it got wrapped around like 10 different times.
Right.
And I thought, man, that's a lot. And it didn't even, it's funny that like watching the show and you think, okay, I can do that. And then all of a sudden, when you were all the way up at the top, it didn't even occur to me that you could run out of rope until it happened to you. And at that point,
you're screwed.
Like you were screwed. Like there was nothing you could have done.
No,
I don't even think you had, even if you had the wherewithal to think, okay, I'll go back to this cleat and loosen it up a bit, you probably couldn't have gotten enough slack. You would have had to go down like 3 or 4 cleats probably. And by that time, Cowboy would have won it.
I love that you said that because you have to really pay attention. Right when I get to the top, I actually yell, which they couldn't show it, but I actually yelled down to Steve and the producers. I'm like, hey, I'm out of rope.
Right.
And I hear them yell back up, you ran out of rope.
The cleats, yeah.
And, and the thing that frustrated me is if you notice in the very next clip, I'm halfway down below Cowboy. And nobody put it together that I hauled ass back down to come back up and beat him again.
You couldn't even tell the way they edited it together. Wow.
But,
yeah, I was far enough to where when I came back up, my cast members were yelling, Cory, go ahead, head back down, come back up and kick his ass again. So I was going for it again, and it was really frustrating to kind of get the short end of that particular thing. I mean, I was in it for the long haul, and I tried to be a good sport about it as best I could, but it pissed me off pretty good.
Well, you definitely you have every right to be pissed because you definitely you played the game right and you weren't a crybaby in that sense, like you were talking about not calling Jordan out to be put in the elimination spot. But at the same time, you basically were at the mercy of Margaret being the one that made you slow, and then them throwing you and Cowboy or throwing you guys into the pit at the same time, like you lost out because of everybody's hatred towards Margaret, and it just felt like you got the short end of the stick on both things, even though you did everything right.
You drew the short rope.
Well, it was short rope, exactly. Well, it's crazy. Even doing, Margaret by far, the thing that got me, and I wish they would have showed more of it, was I told Margaret like numerous times, look,
get on the damn platform.
Talking, yeah. Before all that, I said, stop talking so much trash to these girls,
right?
Because if you get out there and get your ass kicked, it's gonna come back. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's gonna come back on me, And the thing was, being one of the strongest guys out there, I knew that I could pull that platform faster than any of them, and I made up a lot of our time. I believe my time was actually in between 5 and 6 seconds slower than Hunter, and that's with Margaret taking an extra 30, 45 seconds.
Right.
So, I hauled ass, but I was like, girl, I'm just one dude pulling as hard as I possibly can. I can't get you in here if you take all day.
But Cory, have you seen your arms in slow motion when you're pulling that rope? They're impressive.
Faye was watching it on a slow reel, like reel to reel. She just had it looped.
Yeah, on
She's been watching it for a while.
4 screens. It's beautiful.
It's a little disturbing.
For some.
Keep your porch light on is what I'm saying.
Keep your porch light on.
That's right. You and Stone Cold. Those arms.
No, I was like, if I'm gonna be side by side with the Texas rattlesnake, I need to step my game up. So it's funny going into that when I was actually walking down. Steve was like, Cory, it's time for you to use those arms, and I was so excited about that, and it's just it didn't really pan out the way I planned, and like I actually tweeted about it. I said, well, if Cowboy doesn't believe in God, he better now, because it was only by his grace that he won.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because honestly, what they didn't show y'all so much that was edited. Cowboy was coming up to me, and he said, "Hey, Cory, listen, man. When you send my ass home tonight, I just want to let you know, buddy, that it's no hard feelings, and I can go get drunk in the hotel." He was hands down packed up and ready to roll.
Right.
You know,
Shocker.
and it was just he even said it in the thing. He said, I heard him say, Cory, ring the bell, and I wish they wouldn't have edited. I actually rang that bell first.
Right.
And then they cut that part out, and they was like, no, Cory, you have to use all cleats. And I said, come on now.
That's
and I
stupid.
asked them,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, well, it's funny because the safety guy that y'all were talking about, I said, hey, buddy, just before we go, I need to know something. Is there a chance that we can run out of this rope? And you can ask Tessa. I actually,
You did
Tessa
ask.
was right there beside me. Yeah, and he told me specifically. Tessa said, hey, yeah, that's a good question. And the guy was like, don't worry about it, man. You got plenty of rope. Well, that clearly wasn't the case.
Right.
Wow.
I think so. That's really weird. They didn't let you just ring the bell. You had to have all the rope.
And Steve Austin kept saying you need to have all 15 cleats.
Okay.
You need to use all the cleats.
that are there. Cory, what was the initial event or catalyst that got you involved in this casting? Why did you go to casting for this show?
You know, honestly, I'm such a huge Stone Cold fan, and what I really wanted to do, aside from him, everybody in the South gets this. They get this idea of what they think somebody should look like. If you had a chance to actually look at Redneck Island's page, I had people that I wanted to show them what the South was about outside of this honey boo boo facade that people think. You know, like people think that we're walking around with 3 teeth in our mouth, spitting dip. And I was like, man, there's good-looking people from the South. I mean, redneck necessarily doesn't mean hillbilly.
Right.
Now, Cowboy was a redneck of what they wanted to see. But I said, you know what? People can look good. I work my ass off in the gym. I take care of myself, and I don't speak as ignorant as some people think I should. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's how you live. It's a lifestyle.
Certainly.
You know, it really is a lifestyle, and I just wanted to kind of make that known. You know, so I mean, I had people threatening to shoot me on the page.
Why?
Like,
Why?
It was just, well, it was so funny because I told him, I said, I would hunt with a 45, like, or my Glock 40. I mean, I hunt totally different. I would do it in instead of like cowboy boots. I said, well, I'll walk out there in my Jordans. And anyways, so I'd mentioned that I said, hell no to camo. And it's nothing against anybody that wears it. It's just a simple fact I don't wear it. And they were like, oh, he doesn't wear camo? Well, that's great. It makes him easier to shoot. Get his ass off the show. And I was
what?
Well, we were talking about it. Yeah, no, we talked about it a couple of weeks. We all did agree it's the prettiest group of rednecks we had ever seen.
Yeah,
so maybe we were mistaken in making that determination early on. But you're exactly right, Cory. They come in all shapes and sizes. Love and beer.
Well, they do.
Cory, I have to ask you, what do you is Margaret? Are they framing her right? Is she really, a biatch?
Yes.
Is she
The White Devil.
I'm sorry, can you pronounce that for him again? I wasn't.
biatch?
Okay. That is 2 syllables. We just want to get that clear for everybody. Okay.
So that really is her? You know, they're just not finding like the best clips and making her psychotic. She really doesn't,
Well, I thought her being with her first partner, I was like, you know what, maybe they're just kind of pumping that up to make that America's team.
Right.
And they really screwed that up by putting me in there against him because I separated that little thing. But the thing is, I was like, maybe she's just acting like that for the cameras until I actually got paired with her. And she was talking so vindictive, like everything she said, she had, it was like she had, this grudge towards everybody. She was like, well, I'm better than, which goes back to what I was saying about, I told her, like, stop talking so much shit. Yeah. And she kept saying she was better. She kept saying when she won, she lost Riley, came back with me, and we won the very next competition. And she's in everybody's face talking about winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's time to do this and time to do that. And I was like, it's a certain grace and humbleness that you need to have when you win. Let your actions speak for it,
One of your housemates said it best. They said, sneaky snake, keep the grass cut low.
Hunter. Yes.
So that's what that meant.
and
I was wondering, sneaky snake, grass cut low. I
Keep
get
the
it now.
grass
Thank
cut
you.
low.
Okay.
So keep an eye on her.
This whole
That was like a pubic hair
get it.
type of reference.
This whole show is just to explain those things to Angelina. That's all this is.
Exactly. She definitely she has a style all her own, and if you notice, which I can't give it away, but throughout the course of the season, it's interesting, and in regards to her, and that's not trying to kind of give her more credit than she deserves, and I don't mean that in a good way. I just mean she's all her own, put it that way.
Right.
I don't know any
She's
other way
her
to
own
say
worst
that without
enemy.
saying the wrong thing.
She's her own worst enemy.
And she figured out how to get attention. I mean, she's the lead of every show almost.
Yeah.
She is. We've been talking
she
about
is.
her. So.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
And we,
Well, let me ask you
Well,
this.
we were constantly-
I
Go ahead.
have a question, Cory. It's Egypt. When Cody started to realize that Parigi actually kind of, underhandedly provoked and instigated a altercation between him and Cowboy, I really liked what he had to say. Like, this is a young kid. Cody's a young kid. And
22. It was his birthday.
Yeah.
Birthday,
Oh,
birthday,
that's right.
birthday.
He wanted kisses from all the ladies.
Which was so cute. But I got to tell you, I thought, him wanting to put Parigi up was really, that was the right decision, because that was, setting a precedence. Hey, we don't do underhanded things around here. So what are your thoughts about Cody? Is he really cool?
Honestly, from my what I got to see from Cody, he was really pretty much upfront about me. He told me, listen, Cory, I think that you are a problem, but I don't think that you're an issue right now. And he always pretty much kept it, 100 with me the whole way. But when it came to Parigi, and Parigi, he's a cool guy. Everybody likes him. But when it came to Parigi, Parigi did say a lot, like, hey, everybody likes me. Nobody's gonna throw me in. Nobody's gonna throw me in. And he made that known a lot. And it did start to get on people's nerves, to the simple fact of, you're almost saying it as if you're untouchable, and you think that a sweet attitude isn't going to get you put in. I mean, hell, people like Riley, but they still put his ass in.
Right.
And so I think Cody was doing what Cody and Nicole was doing what they felt was best, but in hindsight, it probably wasn't the best possible choice they could have did.
Okay, so what do you guys think about when Jordan enters? She comes back, right, and she's got her mascaras everywhere, and she's limping. I thought, did she break her ankle too?
Right.
Or I couldn't quite figure out what was going on.
I thought she had a black eye.
Yeah.
But it was just
Why did they make
mascara.
her look like shit?
I thought she had jaundis.
Right.
I wasn't sure what was happening.
Yeah.
And
She
then-
may have gotten a little tuberculosis.
She got mauled by a bear.
How many times have we been to the hospital and you get to walk out with a pair of scrubs from the
Never.
hospital?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never.
But wasn't Tank, and I was worried about Tank the first
was
three.
too.
Yeah, like the first 3 episodes, I was like, oh no, this guy's not all there. I was like, oh no, that's really sad. And then he lost Jordan, and he was like a puppy. He was so cute. And then he saw Jordan, and he was so happy, like a puppy. And I thought, wow, is he a cool guy?
Puppies and beer, puppies and beer.
Tell us about Tank. What are your thoughts on him?
Man, when it comes to Jordan was the mediator of that, that whole thing. Like, Jordan pretty much keeps Tank in line, if you want to put it that way. Because Tank is about his liquor and his beer, and he turns them back. Like, I mean, there's plenty of times that they actually had to cut Tank off. I mean, Tank was getting pissed at production.
Oh,
Like,
man.
he was telling production to kiss his ass because they kept trying to cut him off.
Is that why they put the funnel on his funnel?
Well, yeah. Well, see, yeah. They
Because he
would come
wouldn't
over,
drink
and I
out of
remember
it? What?
Well, no, Parigi actually drank out of that damn thing after he had it on his nuts.
No way.
And I just,
Is that a commercial break?
yeah.
Actually, it's a great. Okay, go ahead, Cory. I'm sorry. Just
No, it was no. You're fine. It was cool though. I mean, Tank's a cool guy. I mean, he kind of.
Well, you know what?
I don't
Well,
really
I'm
know
sure
how-
it'll evolve as we watch the show. But Cory, I want to tell you, it was sad to see you leave. I don't know about you guys, but I
Thank
was
y'all.
like, you were a great guy to watch, and I love that
Thank
you played
y'all.
with a code of ethics, even though there wasn't a code. to,
You created your own
You
code
cre-
of ethics that
You did.
were
You did.
easy to watch and understand and
So
root for you.
Yeah, so we're going to be watching the show with you. And again, Cory, thank you so much for coming on our show today. If you want to just take a second and tell people where they can find you, and if you're doing anything that people can come see you at.
Well, actually, I have a couple projects actually in the works right now that I'm getting together. I can't really let out too much information, but what they can do is they can follow me on Facebook, which is just simple as my name, Cory Cotten. Cotten is Cotten. And my IG is Cory_Cotten. And yeah, basically I keep everybody updated on my fan page and everything like that. So I appreciate all the support from everybody, and thank y'all for having me on. It really means a lot.
Well, it was fun. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Cory.
No, definitely.
All
By
right,
the way,
have a
your
good
hair
one.
is glorious. Don't listen to Faye at all. Your hair is
Samson.
glorious.
All right, that was awesome, right? That was some really good perspective.
What a sweetheart.
Yeah, I had no idea. Brittany, come on, really? Like, they clearly said that you will be eliminated, and then they don't exercise that option.
I think
and
Obama
then,
needs to take this up in his next
Seriously.
speech. This is kind of big time.
Yeah.
He's got 2 years left. He could probably get it done right
I
under the
think so,
wire.
yeah.
Right under the wire.
Make it a law.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, well, I'm excited about next week's show. Do you have any picks? Do you see anyone rising to the surface?
No,
I want to see more of Shelby. I don't mean to
I
bust
know,
in, but I
you're
want to see more
right.
of Shelby. That's my girl.
I
Team
felt like-
Red. Woo!
I think Shelby she needed a week off, and so she was there. She had some cuts in and out, but no action.
Yeah.
So no, I don't know. After this last week, some of the guys are all looking the same to me. The women are all looking the same to me. I am still rooting for Jeremy to just kind of smartly, strategically, and then strongly take this competition.
That's a good pick because Jeremy's with Shelby now, right? So that could be really powerful. What about you, David?
I've decided I think Nicole is the hottest. So I'm going to just cheer for her for a while until I have some kind of connection to any of the guys.
I like your priorities.
Thank you.
Very smart.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
smart.
Do you have a pick? I know you watched one show, but if you had a favorite.
Well, here's the thing that I don't think has been mentioned yet. You even made note that Cody figured out that Parigi was the one who started to instigate the issue between him and Cowboy, but in the end he still chose Cowboy over Parigi. I think that at some point the guys, especially the guys that are a little more in shape, they're going to try and take advantage of the fact that Parigi is a bigger guy. Like, if he was picked for that end challenge, you know, as heavy as he was, or as big as he is, climbing up those ropes would have been a lot harder for him than it would have been for Cowboy or Cory. And it might have been a way different thing. It might have been a way different outcome if it was Parigi and Cory doing that challenge rather than Cowboy. I think if Cory remembers how this goes down, he might, if he gets another opportunity, he might put Parigi in the pit before anybody else.
I'm ready for him to leave. So, Christopher, I am so excited that you came in today. Wasn't it fun?
Yes.
Yes.
You guys have fun?
Good little extra energy in the room.
Thrills. I wasn't even wearing pants for this. So
I know.
That's what's exciting.
Even better.
And you shaved your legs, which
I
we
did.
appreciate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
so
you know,
cool.
it's just,
The manscape.
you know, paying homage to my
to the
host.
coworkers. Yeah.
What kind of guy would I be if I came in with stubbly calves?
Yeah, way too egotistical.
Please.
Yeah.
You would be
All
that
right.
guy.
Exactly.
Where
I
can
stopped being
people
that guy a while
find you,
ago.
Christopher?
I'm right here.
I know, but
you mean after
you're
this?
tweeting videos, and you got this huge following, and you're in action. So
Well,
what's
first
your
of
next?
all, if you can follow me on Ring of Honor television, you can go to rohwrestling.com to get channel listings, or you can watch the shows actually on their website. I am on Twitter at FAC Daniels. You can follow my ridiculous exploits there. I don't do Facebook though, man. I'm not on the computer long enough to. 140
That's okay.
characters is just about enough.
That's all you can get out.
Yeah, that's
Right.
all I can do. I have commitment issues. You know. So.
Do you
don't
have
ask more.
any
Yeah,
events
exactly.
coming up that we can that people
The next
can see?
we just did we just taped television last night in Nashville. We taped television again January 24th in
Wow.
Philadelphia, and then March 1st we are doing a live pay-per-view event from the Orleans Hotel in Las Vegas. The 13th anniversary pay-per-view for Ring of Honor. So please follow me at Ring of Honor, ROHWrestling.com, and watch me inspire children and shake my glorious derriere.
All right, awesome. Faye,
that
where
down.
can people find you? We'll kind of work around the room real quick.
Sure, Redneck FD on Twitter. I keep it simple.
All right, Brittany?
You guys can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of it is at Brittany Baldi. And check out MTV's, I almost just said, Are You the One? The Challenge, 11 p.m. This Tuesday is the opening episode. You guys are going to definitely check that out.
And you're on it.
Team Rookies,
Yes.
I'm on it.
Yay.
We're excited for
Team
that.
Bradham.
Yay.
Cool. Go, Brittany. You can find me at Go Blue Dave on Twitter and Dave Abed on Instagram, DAVEABED.
Awesome. And I am Little Egypt. You can find me on Twitter at Little Egypt. Super easy. Facebook, the official page of Little Egypt. Christopher, I actually have been booked I actually have a booking.
Oh, sweet. Where we
Okay.
booked? What's happening?
So I'm going to be at the Lasting Legacy. It's the first ever tribute to women's wrestling. Isn't that pretty awesome?
Yes,
Wilmington,
very cool.
Carolina.
Awesome.
Trish Stratus, April Hunter, myself, and Tessa Blanchard are all going to be there. So I'm like pretty pumped.
Very
That's
cool.
good
Pretty
company.
pumped.
Good company to be in.
Yeah, thank you. And they're going to be screening the Glow documentary, which is available on Amazon
There
and
it is.
iTunes. This
Cool.
is San Diego Comic-Con award-winning documentary. And then I'm looking at your comic books. So what are these?
Oh, I wrote a comic book.
You did?
Yes, it's called Christopher Daniels and Kazarian Russell Aw Yeah Comics. These are available at awyeahcomics.com.
Aw,
That's
yeah.
AWYEAH comics.com. Drawn by award-winning artist Art Baltazar and Franco. They are the Pixar of all ages comic books. So it's one of my favorite things. Even if I don't do another thing the rest of my life, I wrote a comic book. So
Yay!
I'm very proud of myself.
That's so awesome.
Yes, thanks.
Yay! Well, thank you for being here, and thanks everyone for listening. We will see you next week for another round of AfterBuzz Redneck Island.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Are you